Good morning, Jackie.
Morning, good Nadine. Sorry, I'm a little bit late this morning. How are you?
Fabulous. Thank you. Up to great things. Made some big decisions last week, and I'm excited to get started. So,
There we go. And it's the new moon tomorrow, so we can all manifest whatever our heart desires.
absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, we're reading You Too Can Be Prosperous for quite a while now, and I'm teaching it, I'm talking about it. And I just had this revelation on, let's say, yet another level that, you too can be prosperous. To just really let that sink, or I could literally feel it from not only being in my, to know it intellectually, but to know it in my heart. But we've been there, and from knowing it in the heart to literally really owning it with every cell of my body. And that feels, I don't know, so big.
And that's it. It's that feeling of warmth. It's that feeling, of real excitement that's in us, that we know that this is all possible and we just got to let it happen. And when you start to realize that it is happening for you, it's just so gorgeous. So there we go.
Exactly, and I think that was exactly the point, because it was happening for me, and then on some level, I still didn't believe it. Although I believe it, I know it, right? I teach it, and I really live according to these principles. But then I've reached it, and I was like, "That's incredible! It's unbelievable! Like, how did I? Oh, it's coincidence here, and this happened there." But no, I really did the work. But then there is this question of the deserving, and how do people look at me at this level now, all these questions. And I know that there are old questions, the questions that I'm leaving behind, but on every level I feel they're surfacing again to be sent away again. That's what we read last week, right? To change those, to just don't let them in. But it is work. And
Absolutely. But if you can allow the negative in, you've got to allow the positive in. So that's where you've got to make that decision. Stop the negative thinking and focus on the positive thinking. Because unfortunately, as a human brain, we do that protective mechanism. What if this goes wrong? But it's what if it goes right, people?
Exactly.
It's going
And
right.
then all those stories that we've been telling us, and that I've been telling myself on, the smaller level, it's like, okay, I can do this kind of success, but, there is this like emotional cap, I would say. And then, okay, I can stretch it. Okay. But then like feeling big is like not doing this, but doing this. And I was like, oh, that's bold. But that's why I say big decisions, right?
Yeah, for sure. Right. So where are we at, Nadine? Page one, what are we at?
139. And I think that really plays into what I've been saying, because the title is that our life is a parable too. So we have the parables of the Bible that are in this coming section explained. But then when I say looking back, but this coincidence and this circumstance and this, it's just stories, and it's on us how we interpret those stories, and if we see the bigger picture. And that's how these parables serve us. And yeah, therefore, let's go ahead and read the parables, because you too can be prosperous.
Okay. So there are so many lessons in these parables. The most important one is the virtue of importunity. Despite God's love, benefit.
Dear, we read that last week, so we are now these parables.
Oh, down the very
And
bottom.
of course, all our listener can go back to our section of last week. So.
All right, I remember that, and this is it. So these parables do not teach that God is reluctant to give us what we ask for. And that's exactly what I was saying earlier. It's that if we can think of the negative, we can definitely think of the positive. They do show, however, that he responds only to the affirmations. Oops, my pages are sticking. Sorry, only to the affirm. My pages are sticking. Sorry, Nadine.
He responds only to the affirmative and persistent attitude of mind.
It is the story of Jacob wrestling with his angel. I will not let thee go except thou bless me. It is the story of Paul praying over his thorn in the flesh. It is the story of Jesus in the garden. His sweat was, as it were, great drops of blood falling down upon the ground. What is Jesus telling us in these parables? He is telling us that it is all-consuming desire that is fulfilled. It is the spirit-filled prayer that is answered. It is the affirmative consciousness that attracts the most. It is the indifferent and godless judge will, if an indifferent and godless judge will avenge a woman because of her importunity, will not a loving father reward those who press their claim? Why then do we get so discouraged over our delays? If our faith is weak, it needs to be strengthened. If our attitude is impoverished, it needs to be enriched. If our consciousness is small, it needs to be enlarged. If our vision is dull, it needs to be sharpened. If our mind is capricious, it needs to be stabilized. If our desire is hazy, it needs to be clarified. And if our sights are low, then it needs to be raised. Wow, that's such a great reminder of
Yes.
everything we actually need to be looking at. We must change our position in the law. We must know that this is a mental world. We must stop watching others, and this is where we need to start using our higher faculties, our imagination, our will, and our memory, instead of using our five senses. We must stop watching others, see what they are doing and how they are doing it. But of course, if our consciousness were wholly unified with reality, importunity would be unnecessary. We would demonstrate our good automatically by virtue of what we are. Wow.
And so I really would like to tune in there because I'm now preparing in the background the new course with the chakras, so with the business chakras. And thinking about this is just so amazing, because when we say if your consciousness is small, it needs to be enlarged, crown. If your vision is dull, it needs to be sharpened, third eye. If your desire is hazy, it needs to be clarified, right? So what are you voicing? If your sights are low, they need to be raised.
That's your heart. That is your heart chakra. Absolutely.
Exactly. So exactly. So that goes like through all this. And didn't we say it's the parables? And then he says it's all mind. Where was that sentence? We must we must know that this is a mental world. So it's not about looking at what others do in terms of what are their strategies, what are their tactics, on what platform do they go on. No, it's a mental world. Where are you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, on all those bigger questions? And that's what makes you successful. That's what makes your business successful. And now I use the parable for that course of the chakras, but it really just really lists the holistic, like all the emotions that go through us all day long. And some are more activated, less activated, and that's what makes us as people different. And that's why it's such a great thing to cooperate, to work with others, to inspire others, because everyone is unique in what they do. And yeah, so I think when we look at the suggestion here is to take the parables in life, wherever they come up, may it be in the Bible as he's quoting here, may they be in courses, or in your thoughts, in your life, whatever you're dealing, the story you're dealing with. The question is, what does it tell you? What are you learning from this? What is the essence of this parable? And with that, you run.
So true. That's so beautiful. Thank you, Nadine.
Yes. So we continue here next week with the next section about You Too Can Be Prosperous. right?
So, well, have a weekend, and remember, it's the new moon, so it's manifesting everything your heart's desire. So really take into consideration the whole prosperity, what you've just listened to this week, and really think about laying down what do you really want, and start focusing on all those beautiful feelings of achievement.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jackie. It's always a pleasure to read with you.
Thanks, Nadine. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.